Leader of the Janata Party, Peramona, MP Anukumar Disanaika, has responded to claims made by certain factions that the arrest of Yoshida Rajapaksa, son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, was an act of political revenge. Moreover, leader of the Democratic Party, Field Marshal Saladin Fonseca, signed a collective agreement with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, leader of the United National Party, thereby forming a coalition with the United National Front. A much more detailed and comprehensive report of these stories and much more coming up on Prime Time News Nights. Before that, let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
JVP claims that CSN has utilized public funds.
ලක්ෂ 2340 හොයාගත්තු විදිය කියන්න බැරි නම් ඒකෙන් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? අර භාණ්ඩාගාරයේ තිබුණු සල්ලි හෝ භාණ්ඩාගාරයට ලැබෙන්න තිබුණු සල්ලි.
Collective agreement signed between Field Marshal Saladin Fonseca and the United National Front.
Suspect ASP in Amblipitia incident remanded.
Enjoining order issued preventing Sri Lanka men's hockey team from competing at the South Asian Games.
A very good evening. It's nice to have you with us here on Primetime News, live on Newsfirst. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening, I'm Shahan Jarampati. Before we move into your stories in detail, just a reminder that you can join in the Newsfirst conversation on Twitter at our Newsfirst, at Newsfirst_EN, and your comments will be posted during the course of the bulletin. Speaking at a media briefing today, a leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramona, MP Anukumar Disanaika, responded to claims that the arrest of Yoshida Rajapaksa was an act of political revenge. What's funny is that Rajapaksa and his accomplices are interpreting this situation as political revenge. Shripati Suryarachi was arrested and remanded. That was political revenge. Not even 2 weeks after the presidential election, the army stormed into Saladin Fonseca's office and took him away in front of a large crowd. That is what you call political revenge, Mr. Rajapaksa. Bimal Veerawangsa sat in the judge bench to impeach the Chief Justice of the country. That is political revenge. So could this be called revenge? What this government is actually doing is, instead of taking political revenge, they are resorting to measures to protect the corrupt and the fraudsters. Has Shiranti Rajapaksa appeared before the Financial Crimes Investigation Division to provide a statement? No. Mahinda Rajapaksa called Ranil Wickremesinghe and they came to an agreement that officers of the FCID will go to wherever Shiranti Rajapaksa is to record a statement. Several files were sent to the Attorney General's Department, and the Attorney General's Department has come to conclusions on only 4 matters. Over 30 such files remain stagnant on the desk at the AG's department. The Carlton Preschool belongs to Shiranti Rajapaksa. The Carlton House in Tangol belongs to Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Carlton Rugby tournament is Namal's tournament. So do you expect us to believe that the Carlton Sports Network belongs to someone else? Do you believe that it belongs to someone else? Carlton is the brand name of the Rajapaksas. A sum of 234 million rupees was spent as startup capital to launch this channel. So now I will ask just one question. Where did they get this 234 million rupees from? If they cannot mention that, what does it say? It means that this was the money which was either from the treasury or money which was supposed to go into the treasury. State money has been misused for the Carlton Sports Network. There is no bail if a sum of more than 25,000 rupees of state money has been misused. The charges are clear. If public property has been utilized for fraud or has been misappropriated, then I assure you that the JVP will not let go of the fight to regain all of what has been taken.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa arrived at the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division today.
The police media unit said that the former minister was summoned to the police FCID in order to record a statement with regard to a financial transaction at the Ministry of Economic Development during his tenure as the subject minister. The former minister, who arrived at the police FCID around 10 this morning, remained there for nearly 7 hours.
They questioned me on a few matters, including the provision of GI pipes to local government bodies, as well as my UPFA Gampaha office. As much as he is a family member, it is disappointing that a war hero was arrested.
Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa responded to corruption allegations against him.
I can say for myself that I have never been involved in any act of corruption. In fact, I am a person who has taken many measures to prevent corruption even during the war. So where are the hotels, estates, hospitals and golden horses which they say belong to me? Where are they? Where are my local and international bank accounts? If anyone is finding it difficult to trace any of my bank accounts and needs a letter from me and wants me to submit it to whatever police required, I'm ready to do it. That is, if I have any such bank account overseas. But now, since they have told all these lies and are unable to prove them, they are just putting on a show for the public by putting certain people behind bars. This is unfair.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who visited Kandy this morning, called on the chief prelates of the Askeri and Malwata chapters of the Siam sect. As journalists were not allowed to cover the discussions held during these meetings, the former defence secretary spoke to the media following the conclusion of the talks. Journalists also questioned Gotabaya Rajapaksa on the formation of a new party.
I said that a new party should be formed and not that I was going to spearhead one, because there is no proper opposition party today, is there? What I said was that we are ready to give our fullest support to anyone who comes forward with good policies. If what is required does not happen from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, then there is no use, because the needs of the people are more important than that of the party.
The recent arrest and detention of Yoshitha Rajapaksa remains a controversial topic in political circles.
Let's take a look at what some political figures had to say on the matter today.
They are highlighting an email which says Yoshitha, CEO of CSN. That is all they have. So you do not need to look at emails for business registration details. If you go to the registrar of companies, you can see the list of directors and the question will be resolved. You shouldn't just arrest anyone off the streets. You must have proof.
I state clearly and with responsibility that the CSN channel was started by the Rajapaksa family and it was administered by none other than the President's Media Division. iChannel, the sports channel run by Rupavani, had to be closed down. The sports channel run by MTV and the Sirius organization also had to close down. Presidential power was used to dictate that only CSN could telecast sports. Isn't this wrong? Is it wrong for anyone to question this?
It is the Attorney General's Department that must present the charges in the case of a crime that is to be tried at the High Court. The Attorney General's Department is the competent authority here. They have bypassed the Attorney General's Department, rescinded the need to seek advice from the AG and imprisoned these four persons and Yoshitha Rajapaksa. We charge that the monster known as the FCID has carried out this act with a motive for political vengeance to gain some kind of pleasure from harassment and with the intention of shattering Mahinda Rajapaksa's courage.
There are some areas where we cannot agree with the actions of the FCID. We are completely against people being named by a political committee, arrested and then imprisoned, be it members of the former president's family or anyone else. But it is my opinion that if any person has arbitrarily misused public funds and has engaged in fraud and corruption, then it must be investigated.
The Democratic Party, led by Field Marshal Saladin Fonseca, signed a collective agreement with the United National Front today.
The agreement was signed between leader of the United National Party, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, and leader of the Democratic Party, Field Marshal Saladin Fonseca, at Temple Trees this afternoon. Following the signing, the two party leaders elaborated on their programs.
I commence my personal politics with the United National Party. I feel that I have a family connection to the UNP. There is a president in this country who was appointed with much dedication. During the general election, even he gave his blessings to me and hinted that I should be with the United National Front. Because of the infestation of the beetle leaf by pests and the revolution and conspiracy being caused by the Rajapaksa clan within the party as of late, it is difficult for us to embark on a political journey with a party like that. We will not go on this journey with our legs on two different sides. We will dedicate ourselves to move forward with both legs in the United National Front by giving the required strength to the UNP and its leader. What we expected through this is to unite all the parties who assisted in the 2015 January 8th revolution and move forward. That is why we have accepted this invitation and are signing this agreement. We are embarking on this journey to unite the people of the country and establish democracy.
Following the event, Field Marshal Saladin Fonseca responded to the questions raised by the journalists.
We will not be silent when we witness corruption. As I have constantly maintained, the country must be saved from the corrupt. The government has not given me any position or responsibility yet. I believe you should pose your question to the President and the Prime Minister. Any position is a political responsibility which I have no reason to reject. The basis of the Memorandum of Understanding is primarily to do with how the separate parties with their own identities and the stakeholders of the United National Front will function in Parliament and take political decisions. We have not made a final decision yet. A UNP working committee meeting has been called for the 8th of February at the party headquarters to discuss this. Saladin Fonseca joined the Ceylon Army on the 5th of February 1970 as a cadet officer, and after completing his officer training at the Army Training Centre was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the 1st Battalion, Ceylon Singha Regiment. A highly decorated officer, Saladin Fonseca was appointed the commander of the army on the 6th of December 2005, heralding a new chapter in the fight against terrorism. Following his appointment as the commander of the army, then Lieutenant General Saladin Fonseca went on to implement many reforms. On the 25th of April 2006, Fonseca was targeted by an LTTE suicide bomber. Although seriously injured in the explosion, Fonseca, who was no stranger to battle wounds, returned to active service following a quick recovery. As the army commander, he took the fore in cornering the LTTE from Mavilaru to Nandikadal and eventually accomplished the end goal with a complete victory. Following the war victory, the commander, who was among the heroes who made immense sacrifices to liberate the nation from the clutches of terrorism, was elevated to the rank of general and was appointed as the Chief of Defence Staff. After a military career spanning more than 30 years, Fonseca retired from military service and chose to further his service to the country by coming forward as the common candidate for the 2010 presidential election. Fonseca was placed under arrest on the 8th of February 2010, shortly after the election. He was stripped of his rank and medals in the army and was sentenced to 3 years in prison in November 2011. Despite being imprisoned, Fonseca continued the people's struggle, and as a result, the previous administration was compelled to release him amid local and international pressure. Saladin Fonseca, who was an active and vocal advocate for good governance at last year's presidential election, also formed the Democratic Party and embarked on a new political journey. On the 22nd of March 2015, Fonseca, whose rank and medals had been reinstated by presidential decree, was appointed Sri Lanka's first Field Marshal. Field Marshal Saladin Fonseca, who has stood firm in the face of numerous challenges, will undoubtedly continue on this victorious path with the new alliance formed today.
A petition was filed today at the Supreme Court seeking the prevention of the dissolution of local government bodies and to prevent these bodies from being brought under the purview of officials.
The petition was filed on the initiative of several opposition representatives.
This petition was filed by representatives of 18 local authorities. The petition requests the court to order the Elections Commission to hold local government elections immediately. Article 12 of the Constitution shows the concept of equality. While the time period of municipalities and selected institutions may be increased, there is no place in our law that allows anyone to follow any new policies. That is what is stated in this litigation.
අඩංගු වෙලා තිබෙන කරුණු.
අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණය
We believe that the voting rights of the people will be secured through the Supreme Court. We also believe that this will be issued to the Elections Commissioner and other individuals.
කියලා කියන විශ්වාසය අපට තියෙනවා.
A group of ministers and parliamentarians from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party expressed the following views on the party at separate media briefings held today.
We should be concerned about our party and its members. This is the mother party. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party is the centre of the leftist movement. Therefore, it is the responsibility of all leftist movements, individuals with leftist ideologies, as well as those with neutral views, socialist views, or even just humane views to protect this. The main responsibility lies with Mahinda Rajapaksa in his capacity as patron of the party. You cannot point the finger at Maithripala Sirisena.
What is the real purpose of splitting the party? This is actually a national crime. As an example, I can take the Eagle Party established by Lalit and Gamini. As a result, the United National Party was in the opposition for 20 years. It was with much difficulty that we completed this journey. So the question is, will the members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party transform the party to such a state?
The SLFPers need to understand the value of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the need for the party to be united. I believe that Mahinda Rajapaksa, as a leader who really loves the SLFP, he will not allow the whims and fancies of other people to be fulfilled.
At the rural level, an idea is being spread that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party cannot be divided. Now in the past few days, no one thought that such an idea would develop at the Pradesh Sabha level. In history, whenever the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was split, there were only losses and no gains. We have great faith that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party will receive the strength to move forward in unity. This is because those at the grassroots levels do not want to split. Those who survive on the SLFP voter base think that it will be profitable for them to split the SLFP. However, I think that the rural and Pradesh Sabha levels have united in order to safeguard the party.
The former ASP of Ambilipitia, DWC Dharmaratna, who was arrested over the death of an individual at a party in the Ambilipitia area, has been remanded until the 17th of this month.
The suspect, former ASP, was produced before the Ambilipitia Magistrates Court by officers of the Criminal Investigations Department. The former ASP, DWC Dharmaratna, was arrested yesterday afternoon after he was summoned to the CID. Our correspondent stated that attempts were made by the police to keep the suspect hidden from the view of the media. The former ASP is being detained at the Kuruvita remand prison.
Taking a look at more court proceedings, the petition filed at the Court of Appeal seeking the arrest of Kumaran Padmanathan, alias KP, was taken up today.
The petition seeking the arrest of Kumaran Padmanathan was filed by JVP MP Vijitha Herath. The Terrorism Investigation Division submitted a report on KP to the court today.
The nature of the report they submitted today was on whether Kumaran Padmanathan alias KP had ties with the LTTE. They say they are conducting investigations. We pointed out that the Indian government has issued a red notice for this person. We pointed out that the assistance of the Indian government could be sought to investigate the criminal activity mentioned in the petition. The respected Court of Appeal also noted that they must show more enthusiasm to submit the relevant report. The hearing has been postponed to the 9th of May.
Meanwhile, the habeas corpus petition filed over the 2011 December 9th disappearance of Kugan Muruganathan and Lalit Kumar, two activists of the People's Struggle Movement, was taken up at the Jaffna Magistrates Court today. Former Minister K.L. Rambukwella, for whom a warrant was issued due to failure to appear in court on a previous occasion, was present in court today.
K.L. Rambukwella, who was the cabinet media spokesperson at the time, said in response to questions from journalists that these two people were in the custody of the state. We submitted the voice recording to court. As such, summons were issued on him on 2 occasions to come before court and testify. As he did not appear in court, a warrant was issued by the court. Today he was produced in court on this warrant and the court recalled the warrant. However, due to a technical problem at the court, the hearing was postponed once again.
This case is to be taken up again on the 13th of May.
Have we forgotten?
Book containing details on tamed elephants in the country. The Flora and Fauna Ordinance prescribes that it is mandatory to obtain an annual permit to rear tame elephants and that the documentation on these animals, including photographs, must be submitted to the authorities. A year ago, it was reported that such a logbook, which contains data of tamed elephants, had gone missing from the Wildlife Department. Issues regarding the registration of elephants arose after the Wildlife Department announced that this logbook is lost. Measures were taken by the Wildlife Department to conduct investigations by several divisions into the disappearance of the elephant logbook. Thereafter, the police commenced further investigations into the missing logbook by sealing the office in which the said logbook was kept at. A 5-member committee chaired by Professor Sarath Kotagama was appointed to look into this matter. The Secretary of the Ministry also appointed a 1-member committee to conduct a separate investigation. Appearing on the News First Come at the program, the Minister of Wildlife at the time, Vijit Vijayamuni Soisa, said that he has received a letter stating that the missing logbook has been found. 10 days later, it was revealed that the book which was found was not the missing logbook. On the 14th of October 2013, the committee appointed to investigate into the missing logbook handed over their report to the Ministry of Wildlife. The report states the registration of elephants was done without the supervision of senior officials. A 1-member committee chaired by a former Supreme Court judge was appointed to investigate into the missing elephant logbook and elephant smugglers. Throughout the past, what we constantly told the government was that a serious threat has arisen with regard to the elephant population. Due to this unsystematic way of licensing elephants, elephants have been fraudulently registered, logs and documentation in this regard have disappeared, as well as fake documents have been designed to register elephants in an unlawful manner. Several officials have been involved in this. Even under such circumstances, we see that investigations on these matters are moving at a very slow pace, while we also see that some are also in the process of disabling such investigations.
Have
we forgotten?
Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa says that the Right to Information Act gives more meaning to the freedom won in the country.
Our government has provided the right to life. Information on many of the development projects underway in the country are being concealed from the people. So when the Right to Information Act is certified, that is when your freedom is given more certification. Our duties don't end here. As NERA, which is celebrating its 68th year of independence, I very clearly say that there is more to be done to secure the true freedom in the country.
Minister Sajid Premadasa made this statement while attending a program in the Suryaveva town last night, where he inquired into the issues of the locals and assured to provide immediate solutions to them.
At the 6th edition of the Ease of Doing Business Forum, chaired by Minister of Finance Ravi Karunanayake, the minister addressed civil servants across several departments.
The Ease of Doing Business Forum is a platform for the private sector to air the grievances in the presence of high-profile officials and ministers.
The government servants, I would like one thing. I appreciate that we can't give here, but I don't think it really moves as fast as what you're saying when it goes out from here. We must feel that we are helping the business, whatever problem it may be. That's what you all are there for. We have a new government that is absolutely turning everything over. We want that speed of governing to take place. We want to get things moving. And if we find persistently that this problem goes on, we need to get that corrective action taking place. If we find the same thing happening once, twice thereafter, we'll have to bring it to your minister concern that there is no solution coming on, you're only part of the problem that is there.
Also present at the forum was the central bank governor, who shed some light on the prospect of third-party online payment platforms beginning operations in Sri Lanka.
PayPal says that they don't want to work in countries where the bureaucrats come and prevent the money from flowing freely up and down. So we are in the process of now rewriting our whole law on this exchange control. It's called the Exchange Management Act. When that is passed by Parliament, I am hoping in the next 6 months it will go through. Then I think that will address this concern of data.
In sports news, Colombo District Court Judge T.D. Gunasekara issued an enjoining order today preventing the Sri Lankan men's hockey team from flying to India to participate in the upcoming South Asian Games.
However, at a media briefing held today, Minister of Sports Dayasiri Jayasekara said that based on a request made to the Attorney General, the case will be taken up again this Friday morning.
The minister said that a motion will be presented requesting that the sportsmen be given the opportunity to participate at the upcoming games.
Meanwhile, on the cricket field, Sri Lanka suffered a 23-run defeat at the hands of Pakistan today in the ongoing Under-19 World Cup. Well, that's a wrap from all of us here at the Newsfirst desk. Thank you very much for joining the conversation on Twitter. You can continue the conversation on Twitter on our Twitter handle. Shai, would you like to remind them of the Twitter
Absolutely,
handle?
Maina. Well, as Maina said, you can join in the Newsfirst conversation by posting your tweets or comments on @Newsfirst_EN. With that, we wrap up Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I am Shahin Jirampati.
And I'm Mahina Bongzo. Good night.